Hello and welcome to the show. A front-wheel drive car is going to be the next vehicle to take on our Hot Wheels course. The, modern Dodge Dart that completely and utterly ruins the Dart name. However, maybe it'll be okay. That's quite a big maybe. It'll be okay though when it comes to a Hot Wheels circuit. Front-wheel drive cars, well, one has been, and that was the Civic Type R, and it didn't actually fare too terribly. Now, how much that is down to front-wheel drive cars working okay here, and how much that is down to the Civic being a fantastic vehicle, I am not sure. But the Darts possibly might be okay. That's literally about the best way I think I can put it. It can get some okay-sized front tyres, 255s, which, for dealing with steering, braking, and power delivery, aren't the biggest, but it's better than a lot of other front-wheel drive vehicles, potentially. So there is some smidge of hope with that. There is some interesting amount of body kit options on this car, quite frankly. As far as the rear wing goes, there is this monstrosity. There is the normal Forza wing. Now, both of these are adjustable wings, and both of them do exactly the same, have the same amount of weight. So we're going to go for the crazier of the two options, because why not? When it's there, we can have a slightly different rear bumper that's heavier, so no advantage. We can have slightly reduced drag, but slightly heavier side skirts. Probably not going to run them. And we can have, we can have a silly bonnet, can't we? Yes, we can have a silly bonnet as well on our Darts. It is slightly lighter, so why not go for that? We're already up into A-Class. I'm actually surprised how much PI the tyres and everything have already jumped onto this vehicle. Now, the rules of this series are if the car can get to the top of S1 with the standard engine, then it will run that engine. I am not expecting this to, but we're going to give it a try at least. What we are going to want, of course, are brakes. We are going to want some nice race suspension. We're going to want all the handling bits and pieces that we can get on the vehicle. I imagine this is not exactly going to have anywhere near as good a chassis as the Civic Type R. We will, I guess, kind of find out in some respects. Down to £2,800, still a little bit on the heavier side. I say that, and that is in comparison to the cars that have already been in this series, cars that have already gone round. I say a little bit on the heavier side. I mean, it's probably it's about the same weight as the Subaru Impreza, same weight as we got the, what was the car that went, the Eclipse actually, similar weight to that. Of course, we haven't got the power, and what power we do have is going to all be going through the, so we haven't got the power yet. It might actually get it within the PI. It doesn't look like it's getting up towards there, but I think we're going to run out of bits to stick on this standard engine before we can quite make it. It's not the worst standard engine that we could have had in here, but it isn't going to do it. It's a halfway through S1, so abandon the standard engine in this car. Our options are a turbo rally engine, which won't get enough power either, or the 3.2 litre i6. It is a little bit heavier. However, it is actually going to be capable of getting enough, well, it's going to be the most powerful option out of all of this. So we'll get the turbo stuck on there as well. And then just kind of go through here, shove on parts. And then if it suddenly gets towards the top of S1 class, then we might have to frantically take some bits off. I doubt it somehow, but you never know. Up to 548 horsepower in this car. I believe this engine will get up to about 700. That's a lot. 700 horsepower through the front wheels is a astronomical amount for the car to be dealing with indeed. 718 horsepower in this car. Now, the intercooler will take us up to 752, and the oil and cooling will take us up to 761. £2,900 with all of those bits and pieces added on. So, there is a crazy amount of power in this car. As 761 horsepower is a lot. From the previous that we have seen cars run around this this course, that is a lot of power, especially for a front-wheel drive vehicle to be trying to deal with. Now, if it can, there may be some speed to be had out of the Dart. I doubt it's going to get near the Civic. I don't think it's going to have anywhere near the cornering grip, but it might not be as far down the table as you might expect. So, our rather bonkers Dart has been brought to the skyscraper takeoff circuit. I am going to have 5 laps to try and go as well fast as possible, or perhaps more importantly, keep the car out of the walls. The fastest front-wheel drive time of that Civic, a 35.0, is, I guess, kind of its yeah, kind of its challenge. I don't think we're going to be getting near it. A 36.4 is the time set by the twin mill, and if we can get even in the vague vicinity of that, I would be quite impressed with the Dart. Now, the game reckons this car is actually going to be very, very quick in a straight line. It reckons it can do 230 miles an hour, which is a lot. So we might stand some chance of making up time down the final straight. It's how much we lose through these corners. That is the potential problem. Now, we're going to get a lot of understeer. It's going to be the on-power understeer that's the problem with the Dart. Like through here, for example, is going to be I might be able to find a bit more speed than I'm expecting to be able to take in this car, and it may well be a case of running this in higher gears just to try and ease the wheel spin to an extent. It is very, very quick. We do 160 miles an hour out of that corner in no time. It is going to be very, very quick once you can get the power down. Now, unlike the Civic, the Civic was, what, 600 horsepower? About 150-ish horsepower less than we had in this. And, you know, the Civic, ultra modern and quite probably the best front-wheel drive hot hatch there is until, well, the new one comes out. This is not quite on that level. However, not too terrible on its opening run, and that is massive speed of the second of the boost patch, up to 214 miles an hour. In fact, we almost keep the speed above 200 all the way around that loop. There is tremendous straight line speed in the Dart. That's actually quicker than the twin mill down there. That's astonishingly fast from this car. As an opening lap goes, a 39.3 is not the greatest, but you have to bear in mind that the likes of the all-wheel drive Eclipse, so it launches so quickly. The difference between that from a standstill and this from a standstill lap is a little bit greater. So the Eclipse at a 36, I think, from a standstill. This is going to, will make up a bigger gap. It's also a lot worse through the corners, quite frankly. I would be very, very surprised to see this getting near the Eclipse at the very top. However, I am more impressed with this car than I was expecting to be. It is better through these corners. There isn't as much understeer as I feared there might be when you're asking a car to deal with 700 horsepower. Through those front wheels, we are running very, very wide out there. There is a lot of smoke being thrown off this car as we get around the corners. Brakes aren't too terrible in the Dart here. Weave it through there and then carefully does it on the power delivery. I think I do want to leave it in third rather than fourth there, just because it is a relatively slow acceleration, so we leave it in fourth. And the downside of you running higher gears is that you might not perhaps quite get the drive out of the corners. You might avoid the wheel spin, but you might not be able to get enough drive out of the turns. I'm still slightly in Eclipse mode there and didn't change up into sixth at the right point, so that was my bad. It's going to be a not quite so good run around the loop this time. Still, though, it doesn't dip below 190. That's mighty impressive that we fly out the other side with plenty of pace. Slow it down for this final corner. Third gear. I don't think we really want to go into second. It's a 37.0. 37.0 from the Dart, and there is definitely a bit more speed. I think this is... It's not going to go to the top. I have no doubt about that, but it could well throw it amongst the likes of the twin mill. Maybe even the Subaru Impreza could become a little bit embarrassed by this surprising performance in the Dart. I mean, front-wheel drive certainly does have its hindrances around here, but they're nowhere near as great as you might see at some other circuits. It's this corner here I don't really like. We're going to have a big old wiggle that time around. It was going so well. Once I started braking, I realised things were not going as I had hoped they would. With the back end started moving around, and I knew we weren't going to really make that corner in the way that you perhaps ideally want to. Yeah, this is a bonkers. I was not expecting a car capable of this much straight line speed out of the Dart. Being able to do, I mean, as I said, the game records will do 230 underneath its own steam, which for a car, okay, yeah, 700 horsepower is a lot, but the faster you're going, the more power is needed to keep accelerating. And that's a hell of a top speed on its own, and it's making the most of it when it comes to this loop. If we can get another very, very good run, it was 215 miles an hour off that boost pad, and we don't dip below 200 all the way around that loop. That is mega. But then it's a real job to make sure that we get it slowed down for that final corner. It's a 35 something in there. It was a dirty lap, and there is definitely, again, more speed to be had out of this car if we can get all of the corners spot on. That's what it's going to take with the Dart, and that is definitely easier said than done. Not much speed to be taken around there. It'd be incredibly easy to go off and visit the sand. Haven't seen it. I think it's kind of more aware of what the Dart is going to be doing. You're more aware that the Dart is going to move around and cause... I say move around and cause trouble, but it's going to understeer off if you try too much stupid stuff. 130 miles an hour. Struggling at 130 miles an hour. I've done a dumb and clipped the wall on the inside there. Yeah, it's definitely got some serious speed about it, this car, or more speed than I was ever possibly expecting from it. The chassis does a good job. It does a surprisingly good job of containing all of the fury. I think a lot of the lap time, is helped by that crazy top speed. We saw a little bit with the Civic as well. The Civic was actually very, very fast in a straight line. That was about 215, I think, the Civic could do, which, is a lot better than we've seen from quite a few other vehicles, quite frankly. Come on, dodge! Hit that boost pad again. We're up to 212 on the launch, and it's not quite kept above 200 all the way around, but not far off whatsoever. Let's get the braking right into the final corner. Ever so just pulled up in time. It was 36.0, I think, for that lap around. So yeah, it is quicker than the twin mill. It's whether we can get any more speed out of it. Can we get it faster than the Alfa Romeo 4C? That would be a hell of a feat if we could. That would be a hell of an unlikely feat if we could. I've tried to be as brave as I dare on that power delivery. Carry as much speed without understeer against the wall. Had to have a little lift. Just as you crest, just as you go up towards that, there's a smallest of rises that will cause the car to grab it. It gets a little bit of wheel spin. It's the understeer that then goes with that wheel spin that is causing the problem. We're going to run wide. Yes, we are. Well, I say run wide a little bit on the exit there. We're still carrying plenty of speed on the exit. That's the important bit. It's 166 miles an hour. It's just so much more speed in this car than you expect. The poor... I'll give the Dart some stick, because from standard guys it really isn't worthy of the Dart name, but I tell you what, for a front-wheel drive car with this much power to be as composed as this is, admittedly, it's a track that front-wheel drive cars perhaps don't struggle with as much as some other circuits, other places that you could go, but still, it is an incredible achievement the way this car is driving. Keep that speed up around the loop, just ever so fractionally dipped below the 200 mile an hour mark, and it's that one more big stop into the final corner for the Dart. Run a little wide on the exit as we try and get the power down to 35.2. It went so close to the Civic. That is a lot closer than I ever expected it to be. A 135.2 for Dart. When you give it 700 horsepower and take it to a Hot Wheels track, it really is not the lemon you might expect it to be. That's astonishingly fast. It embarrasses an Alfa Romeo 4C. Yep, the front-wheel drive Dart has gone quicker than the Alfa Romeo. We are only 0.2 of a second down on the Civic Type R. We're only half a second down on the overall leader. In a car that should be utterly bonkers and out of control and near undrivable, it's actually very, very good. Yeah, that is a incredible 5th place. Helped a lot by its tremendous straight line speed. That is one of the fastest cars we have had around this circuit. It's as quick as the twin mill. I think one of the cars, the Valiant Charger, might have been doing closer to 230, but this is certainly right up there as one of the fastest cars, and that'll help because it struggles through the corners, but it's obviously not so much of a struggle through the corners if it can set that sort of a lap time. Not the easiest, perhaps, to drive fast, no, because you have got to be aware of that on-power understeer that a car like this is going to constantly be having. However... yeah, that is a hell of a lap time, and I don't think many people would have been expecting it to go quite that quickly. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.